So we're headed over to Buddy Wayne's wrestling school nearby Everett, Washington, and we're gonna get a little bit of a lesson as to what it takes to be a professional wrestler. If you think it's all fun and games, I think you're gonna be pretty surprised. We're in Everett, Washington at Buddy Wayne's pro wrestling training facility. Buddy Wayne is a former pro wrestler, a man who made quite a name for himself. Been in the business for 29 years, made it on WWE TV, which is the pinnacle, really, of pro wrestling companies. And he's a man who made more money losing than winning. Buddy has a school here in Everett, Washington. This is the wrestling ring that we're going to get in. We'll be explaining everything about how it works, and we'll be talking to Buddy as well as one of the students to find out what pro wrestling is really all about.
All right, tell me who you are.
Buddy Wayne.
Buddy Wayne, and tell me about yourself.
Man, I've been in wrestling. This is my 29th year now. I've loved this my entire life.
Tell me how you. Well, before you tell me how you got into it, tell me why you got into it. When did you get into wrestling? When did you start appreciating wrestling, and why did you decide to get into wrestling?
I grew up in the South, and wrestling was huge. It was, it was on every Saturday, Sunday, and it was just one of those things. I loved every sport, but wrestling was year-round. I could watch it year-round, and I always in love with it. And then as I got older and more athletic, and I saw that, and I said, man, this is what I want to do. And I stuck with it.
What was your training experience like?
There used to be a show on. We only had 2 hours of wrestling a week. One was big time wrestling out of Portland, Oregon, and the other one was all-star wrestling out of Vancouver, Canada. And so I saw an ad on the TV. They were training wrestlers. This was 1984. $1,200. But get back to this when you're 18, right? I was a sophomore in high school at this time, and so I went to the gym, and there was one guy, Ole Olson, who came out of Everett, Washington, the only guy I ever knew that came out of Everett that was a pro wrestler, and I'd seen him at the gym. I'd seen his bodybuilding pictures on the wall. I'd hang out at the gym and stalk him. Finally, I ran into him, and I brought the letter, and I said, man, they said I had to be 18, but I'd really like to do this, and he goes, I can do it. And all my training at the beginning was just straight in the gym, lock up, holds, over and over, until he took me to a show in Portland, introduced me to this guy that was on the show, and the next day we went over to his house. He had a ring in his yard. Training started there, and I probably was in the ring 3 times total, learning to hit the ropes just really quick, and I had a match. But
in front of a live crowd.
In front of a live crowd.
3 times. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about really what pro wrestling is, because a lot of people have a negative connotation towards it, that it's just that fake fighting stuff on Monday nights. Talk about what pro wrestling is. What is the art form? What are we doing when we get in the ring?
Entertaining, it's, and me and you've talked about this, it's UFC, they're not trying to entertain you. Somebody's trying to win. Competing, yeah. They don't care how boring you think it is. They don't care if you lay in a hold or whatever. Wrestling's the complete opposite. It's physical, but you're entertaining. And the second you lose those people, it's over, and so you try to engage the crowd and make them feel what you feel, and to me it's the greatest business there is.
The thing about pro wrestling today is there's one company that pretty much rules all, and that's WWE. Back when Buddy was training, there were a few territories, and there were a couple of big name companies as well. Back then, WWE was known as the WWF, or World Wrestling Federation. There was also the National Wrestling Alliance, NWA, which later became WCW. In a nutshell, Buddy was one of the fortunate guys to actually make it to these big companies and actually wrestle on television and tour with the companies.
It was easy to, if you knew somebody or you'd been around a little bit, to get on TV and just get killed out there. But to actually get used and be on the road, that took talent. It took a lot, because they only, like when I was in Vancouver, they took 6 guys and I on the road, and you each worked a singles match, and we all came back in a 6-man tag down the show. So you had to be the best 6. Let's try to get booked somewhere else, because if you weren't booked somewhere else and you left here, you got fired here, you were unemployed. So you were constantly trying to get better, look better, whatever, and chop yourself out and get somewhere else. It was tough to do.
To get on TV, to make a name for yourself, It's pretty difficult. You made it on WWE TV.
Yeah.
Tell us about that journey, you know, for someone who actually accomplished that, which is something that not many people do.
I scratched and clawed at the bottom here. I didn't realize, you know what I mean? I was always good at sports in high school, but I didn't realize this is a totally different thing. You know what I mean? You got to look the way you present yourself and the way, you know, you got to be large.
What was the average look, height, weight for?
Oh, I was gonna say probably 6, you know, 230. You know, and then you'd have the big monster guy. You know what I mean?
Right. Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, exactly.
Ultimate Warrior, Andre the Giant.
Exactly.
And then here you are, 5'6".
I got 5'6", right? And I'm just trying to get a break. The first time I did WWF TV was 1991. I was about 208 pounds, and I've been in about 6 years. Just proving yourself all over again. And once you did that first TV, you're trying to get on to the next one. You're trying to get on the next one. And I did TV from 91 to my last time was the summer 2003, a month before my back surgery.
Okay.
So that was a hell of a run.
12 years.
Hell of a run. And WCW in between them. So
okay.
It was a hell of a run. But it was tough. You know what I mean? You just had to know your role and be good at it. And, you know, someone wins, someone loses. That's the way it is. And I knew what my role was and just tried to do the best I could. The first WWF match I had was against the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. And
the first match.
First
against
match.
This man.
Yeah. And
a legend.
He's got about 6'4", you know. But I remember he hit me with a clothesline hard. Just everything was easy until he hit me with that clothesline hard. I remember laying down going, oh man, you know. When we got to the back, he apologized. First thing he says, I apologize. He goes, you're doing TV every week, or it was every 2 weeks at a time, but you're doing 3 TVs a night,
right.
And they just throwing whoever at you from whatever part of the country they're in. And he goes, I'm just used to working with guys that I have to knock down and keep them down. And he goes, you were a night off, thank you. And for him to say that, because he says it in front of the agents, that carried a lot of weight.
Now that I got some good background from Buddy as to his journey to becoming a pro wrestler, I wanted to get some more information about him as to what it takes today to train a pro wrestler. After some basics that you may learn outside the ring, when you get into the ring as a student, the first thing you learn is how to bump. And I know that sounds odd, but basically if you watch a wrestling match, if you really pay attention, just about every move ends in what's called a bump. It's either landing on your back or on your front in a very, very controlled manner, very safe manner. And I talked to Buddy about this because if you think wrestling's easy because you learn how to fall, think again. I guess tell me, what is a bump?
Just falling, if you fall as flat as possible, distribute the weight from the top of your shoulders to your low back, tailbone area. Hit as flat as possible. And arms out, everything, absorb the shock as much of your body as you can.
I mean, I probably know how it went down, but I'm not going to spoil it. So why don't you walk me through? You walk in, there's a ring in a shed, and what happens next?
First day, I knew enough to know that I didn't have any idea what I was getting into. So I just knew I was going to come in, whatever I was asked to do, I'd do it because I wanted to do it that bad. So I walked in, saw it wasn't glamorous. I kind of actually liked that. Buddy asked me to do a few things, just get a sense for my athletic ability, somersaults, cartwheels, things like that. And then came time for the first bump, and you hit the mat for the first time, and everyone has the same story. It's nothing like you expect. There's nothing that can prepare you for it. All the weights you lift, all the cardio you do, as soon as you hit the ground, that's all out the window, and it's just pain.
And the second time I was in the ring, I tell all the students here this story. The second time I was in the ring, I took a bump wrong, dislocated my hip, and pushed my rib cage over like an eighth of an inch, moved it, and I couldn't move. They had to take me home in a car, and laying down in the back seat. I was out for 3 months, but I remember that whole ride home going, I'm done. I can't do this, and I was a failure. And then I was here, and my doctor was sending me for therapy on it, and the doctor said, so how'd you do? And I told him, and he goes, well, just don't do it again. You'll be all right. And I went, that's right. Just don't do it again. That's it. Don't quit, or this is too tough, or don't do it again.
Learn from your mistakes.
Yeah, learn from your mistakes, and I did, and I'm here now.
It's a strange thing when your body learns to adapt to it. And after a while, you always feel it, but not the same way you did that first night, where it's just a shock to the system. I couldn't even move after taking a couple nights off. I came on a Tuesday and a Thursday, and I woke up Sunday and couldn't move.
I had to get in there, right? Now, it is true. Your body does get used to the repeated action of taking those bumps in the ring. And I'm about to show you, I took a bump. It's like riding a bicycle. I used to do it all the time, and I got back in the ring, did it right away. Now it's not. I haven't done it in a while, so it was a little bit jarring, and my back is still a little bit jacked up right now. But it is still something. Like once you get it down, you have it down.
Whoa! All right, buddy, man, you forgot nothing.
But again, if you think we're just jumping around on something that's like a mattress or trampoline, wrong again.
The ring ain't soft, you know this.
Right. Yeah, let's talk about that, by the way. The ring is not a trampoline.
No, God, no. No, it's...
This is made of what?
Yeah, there's wood. There's, I think on this one there's eight sheets of plywood, probably about that thick. Then there's beams that run this way, and underneath them beams that run this way.
And those are metal.
Metal beams, and the wood sits on top of them. There's a carpet padding sits on top of that about that thick. And at the very bottom there's a semi-truck spring, like a shock for a semi-truck, so it takes a lot to move it, but it's underneath to help distribute the shock also, so the ring's not breaking, but it's hard as hell.
All right, so now we're in the ring, and as you can see, what is it, 16 by 16? Yeah, 16 by 16 wrestling ring, a little smaller than what you see on TV, which is a 20 by 20, but perfectly fine to train in. And as we said, this is not a trampoline. This is not soft. This is not easy. It takes skill and it takes talent, and we're going to show you what that means right now.
It all starts out here with some chain wrestling. It's the basics here, and the point here is that you have two performers trying to get across that they're jockeying for position, trying to one-up each other in the beginning of a match. Then, once this is established, we move on to bumping.
Heard that. Obviously, that sound is that's the one sound you hear over and over again through the course of a wrestling match, and that's part of the excitement. Is you see these people throwing each other around, and you hear these loud sounds happening, and that's what keeps people enthralled.
And of course, it gets more elaborate from there, especially as you go from the basics, where right now we're just in a training facility, to the people that appear on WrestleMania, basically the Super Bowl of wrestling, the best of the best. More moves, more complicated, more high risk, and more reward, quite honestly. Reward for who? Well, reward for the fans, as well as for the wrestlers, performers in the ring. You see, it's kind of a give and take. The wrestlers are giving of themselves, not for themselves, or not in a real competition to see who can win. What they're really doing is trying to entertain the crowd, the people they're performing for. And as those people give back, as they respond in the way, hopefully, that the two performers, or however many are in the ring, are trying to get them to respond, that give and take is what it's all about. It's storytelling. You want to establish a story, establish your characters, establish what's happening, and then through your actions in the ring, through this odd performance art, take them on an emotional journey, take them to an emotional high with a payoff that leaves them satisfied. And when the wrestlers do that, they feel satisfied, and quite honestly, that's where they get their worth. In other words, the better you can tell those stories, the better you can control the crowd, the better the crowd reacts to you, the more money you make.
That's pro wrestling.
So there you have it. I want to thank Buddy Wayne and his student Randy Hawkins for being in this video and sharing their insights into the world of professional wrestling. My hope is that this video gave you a different kind of appreciation for what these men and women do, and maybe you'll check it out this coming Monday night to actually get a look at it firsthand. It's something I've loved since I was a child, something I've wanted to do since I was a child, something I got the privilege to do as an adult, and something I get to still enjoy to this day, especially seeing some of my old friends on my TV screen each week. Now, this is the first of 7 Ford Fiesta mission videos that I'll be doing. I'm going to be doing one per month. This is the first one for June. Ford chose 100 social media ambassadors to represent the 2014 Fiesta this year, and I'm actually one of 20 to get the Ford Fiesta ST model, the stick shift, the one I had to learn to drive going from Nashville to Seattle because I'd never driven a stick before. It all worked out. I'm home. This month's theme was fitness, and I chose the pro wrestling one because I assumed anyone else who chose it would probably make it a comedy video. And I wanted to take the opportunity to show the serious side of something that means so much to me. Be sure to follow my channel, youtube.com/GearLive. You can follow me myself. I'm on Twitter at Andru Edwards, at GearLive. I'm on Instagram.com/Andru. Facebook.com/Andru. You can find me everywhere. And if you're in the Pacific Northwest and you're looking for a pro wrestling school, give Buddy Wayne a call. A big thank you to Ford for providing the car, the free insurance, and free gas as I go about my missions in everyday life through the end of the year. And a big thank you to you as well for liking, sharing, and commenting on this video. Until next time, as I said, I'm Andru Edwards, and I'll see you next month for a next Ford Fiesta mission. This month's theme was fitness. Next month's theme, gaming. And we've got something especially cool, especially awesome. I can't talk about it yet, I'm sure. But needless to say, if you're a gamer and you know what's going on in the industry and what's coming next at the end of the year, you're going to want to check it out. Until next time, thanks a lot for watching, guys. I'm going to throw it back to Buddy Wayne because I want to close on one of his quotes because I think he hits the nail on the head.
Been in wrestling, this is my 29th year now. I've loved this my entire life.